the fellowship has allowed for me to really focus in on particular sets of skills just for me as a manager and me as a leader.
This is like someone gave you the opportunity to stand on a mountain and look over into your future from a place higher than where you are right now.
The fellowship helped me think outside of my own box.
It's recognizing that it's about being as authentic as you possibly can to your core set of values.
Courage to make the hard choices and the hard decisions, and to stay the course for a long period of time.
Skills like results-based leadership have brought an effectiveness to it. Bringing my whole heart also brought, love and attention and compassion to it, and the combination of the two have moved organizations and I believe actually helped people.
Most successful leaders are those who know how to lead people toward results. It is indeed about how you inspire people. It is indeed about whether folks trust you. Are you a good manager? But at the end of the day, the question is, are you able to motivate people so they bring their best talents? They themselves are motivated to bring all of their energy and all of their direction toward getting results for children. That's the bottom line in leadership.
First Place for Youth is an organization that works with young people who are transitioning out of foster care. That young people will have, you bring everything with you into your workplace. How do you use yourself to become a better leader? And how do you rid yourself of those things that get in the way of you being a leader? And so I never expected the fellowship to go that deep into helping me understand.
Accountability is one of the words you're going to hear most here as both an employee of the organization and a young person of the program. And again, Sam really took coming out of the Casey program, how do we infuse that or weave that into the culture of the organization?
It is the actual outcome that you're able to produce and holding yourself in your organization, in your community, accountable for those outcomes is one of the greatest things that I took away from the fellowship, is how do you articulate the accountability for the outcome, not just spewing out what the outcome is.
Everyone's accountable for what they do. Without First Place, you might fall off. They guide you. They guide you. They're on both sides of you, just guiding you where you're supposed to go. They don't tell you where you need to go. They just want to help you your best way, because it's up to you where you want to go in life.
You do it your way and see the outcome. They let me do it my way. Unfortunately, sometimes they're right. It is not the best way to go, but they actually just help me, I guess, become transitioning from a youth to an adult.
The fellowship has helped me change the lives of the young people that I'm serving today by being much more intentional around the data that we use, by understanding not only my leadership qualities, but other managers and people within the community, their leadership qualities. But the other thing that the fellowship has actually helped me to do is to reframe my vision of what it is that we can actually do. And that reframing of the vision is saying that not only can we improve the outcomes of the young people that we're serving today, but as we begin to think about a level of scale, we can actually solve this issue for every young person in our community in the United States who's transitioning out of foster care. That is a statement that would not have been made, in a vision that would not have been articulated had it not been for the fellowship.
We were a powerful group of people linked to a powerful organization.
The network itself is just invaluable, unexpected and bigger than I could have ever imagined it.
We can lean on one another, learn from one another, help one another.
I would say that structurally, the network is access to some of the most amazing people in the country doing really critical work on behalf of children, youth, and families.
You're going to love the fellowship, but I have to tell you, from several years out, it's the network that will really continue to feed your growth.
As the network developed, it became a safe place for fellows to come together and talk about the things that they couldn't talk to anybody else.
The
these fellows have opened doors for us in places that we may not have been able to go. They have interpreted our work to audiences who may have otherwise been cynical or skeptical. They've demonstrated how we do what we do, and most importantly, why we do. And they've become key informants for us as we try to negotiate states, localities, and neighborhoods across the country.
They hire each other, and so what you see in certain places around the country are groups of fellows working in either a single agency or working across agencies in a system or working in a city together, and it is an enormous impact.
I intentionally go to the network when I've taken on these leadership positions and wanted to build out my team. Anyone who's in the fellowship is smart, they're passionate about kids, they bring different perspectives to help push the work forward has just been a tremendous benefit.
To be able to work with Brenda Donald, to work with Joanne Henry, but also to have the support of other fellows who are in the area to really help me lead towards the results we all want to see for children and families. And I don't know how easy it would be if I didn't have the support of the network.
The network just provides such an incredible role in all aspects of sustaining your role as a leader, and it's just been amazing. Another benefit of the network is being nudged, or you could also call it kicked off a cliff, of opportunity to take on greater leadership. And I'm very grateful for those opportunities, because I probably wouldn't have sought some of the ones that I've had if not for the fellowship.
I believe so passionately in what the mission of this agency is and what we have to do and what we can and should do for kids, and why the way we've been doing it historically is just not good enough. I try to be inspirational, but really an empowering leader that says, this is why we're doing this. And I can set the vision, I give the context, but then it is, what do you need to carry this forward? Well, you gotta have the best people. So that's why I go to the network for the top talent. It's a touchstone, and it's a place you can go to with questions or just ideas that you want to toss around. So that has been enormously helpful.
Being data-driven, I think that's another key thing that the fellowship brings. And you kind of know it intuitively that that's an important thing to do. But what the fellowship does is kind of bring the higher relief how you actually do that.
There's a way to measure what we want to achieve, and that those measurements have to be clear and transparent.
It's made me think more about not just doing good work, but answering the fundamental question, is anyone better off?
Whenever I'm making any decision, small or large, being able to ask to myself in the moment, stop, reflect, rethink, what is the purpose, and then just immediately go to what end.
The power of relationships as a way of achieving results.
That mixture of how to really move groups to action and have the skills that support you in doing it brings that data and that results focus to life.
For the Casey Foundation, the fellowship has proven to be perhaps the most effective way to extend the reach of our message.
Presence of fellows not only gave them access to a learning experience, but it really strengthened the foundation. The foundation was, 3 years after fellowship started, much smarter on a number of subjects than we would have been without that presence of those people.
Coaching Corps uses the power of service and sports to improve health and educational outcomes for kids living in low-income communities. The fellowship taught me that data-driven decision-making just makes everything so much easier. So now, when we think that we have a good idea, a good approach to something, we try it and we use the data to pivot quickly when we learn what's working and what isn't working. And if you use data for your decision making, it makes the decisions that you're going to make much more transparent to everybody. So you get a group of people who have total buy-in to the decision because they know what the data is and they know what the data is telling me. I couldn't have done that before the fellowship.
Janice gained a lot in terms of being able to use data differently than before.
I don't think that we would have been a national organization without the skill set by the Casey program.
Her authenticity, I mean, what Janet you see is what you get. She brought a tremendous amount of focus through her leadership, through these strategies, and helped us devise a plan that we could actually scale nationally, which is what we're trying to do right now.
I think that's the soul of Coaching Corps. It's about getting volunteers who are willing to go and figure out what do these kids need to have a safe space, to be themselves, to learn lessons, to be a team, and to be active.
Coaching Corps is an after-school program. It would be hard for me because my mom and dad work, so probably like one of my grandparents would have to pick me up.
There's 21 million kids in this country that are between the age of 6 and 17 that are living in low-income communities. And we know that if we could reach 5.5 million of them, we would have wiped out the disparity in opportunities for after-school sports for kids. Now, clearly we can't do that alone, but we can make a big dent in it. And while making a big dent in it, which would mean serving over, coaching over 130,000 kids a year, then over 10 years, we will have developed a set of best practices and policies and that other people can use, schools can use, and after-school programs can use to make sure that all kids get the benefit of after-school sports, regardless of where they live.
I think that the impact, the effect, has to do with the way that Casey chooses the fellows. It just doesn't randomly choose fellows. It chooses folk that it sees a glimmer in their eye. And it takes that glimmer and expands that glimmer into a vision, and then expands that vision into reality.
The fellowship taught me to be all about impact and results. In order to do that, I had to be using data. I had to be results and impact driven. I had to be willing to take a risk to say what we're doing right now isn't working as well as it could for kids. And I had to be willing to do something that nobody had done before and, you know, test it, use data to pivot, to make it work. And I think that I learned all that from the fellowship.
You can have a million good ideas if you don't have somebody to lead the execution of those ideas. They remain nothing more than a good idea. So I'm proud to be part of the Casey Foundation that believes in this work and has supported it like no other foundation in the country.
And our goal is all the same. We want better outcomes for kids that just need our help, and that's satisfying to me. And I just want to again finish by congratulating 20 years of wonderful fellowship and a huge impact on how kids are being treated and the outcomes for kids in our world.
And I think the best thing is that they use this network to learn from each other, to build on what they've experienced together, and improving the lives of children and families.
By selecting talent and passion, we got a group of people who now populate places that we could not even have imagined.
If you were trying to build an army of well-informed, capable advocates for what we need to do next, you couldn't do any better than these 109 people that have been graduates of the fellowship.
So if you think about each of the fellows as an engine of change, and you track the output of those individual engines, when you start to put together all of that output that has come from the experience of the fellowship, well, for me at least, I can see us continuing to invest in this at least another 20 years.